estás? Okay, so sorry about the light. I'm recording this at like 5 o'clock in the evening and it's really dark and the dark days. That's the dog days, isn't it? So, how's it going? Just a little piece of hair is annoying me. Thought it'd be good to start off with a little bit of Australian because I'm about to talk a lot about Mexico! Why am I screaming? Pretty sure there's people sleeping! At 5 o'clock? Maybe not. So the last time I left you, I was screaming Mexico really loudly. You can watch that here. And let me tell you, that was not the end of it. Because I am going to scream. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Instead, I'm gonna tell you about Mexico. I've told you so many times that I'm going to the place, and then I went to the place, but I still have not told anyone about it. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Okay, so when I left you guys, I was about to tell you about Mexico City. So, we flew into Mexico City where I was sitting on a plane with this really cute baby, this one. Before that, I was going to the airport, and that's what this is.
You by yourself?
This is so exciting. We're going on the flight to Mexico. Woot, woot. Hello. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm scared.
Don't be scared, be excited. Hi, hi, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
That's it.
Oh, yes, thumbs up. It's so exciting. Yes, and then the cute baby, and then this happened. I'm coming to you from the airport at Mexico City in Mexico. I'm in Mexico. We're in Mexico. This is all of us. There's people waiting for their flights. It says walking. Lots of Mexican people and other people as well, I guess. But it's very exciting, and I'm gonna go now. It's not actually that major. It's just getting off this. Just don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so Mexico City is where we landed, and basically we were there for 2 days. And Mexico City has a really city-ish feel, which is good considering that it's called Mexico City and it has city in the name. That's just, I don't know, it's weird because it's not like Melbourne city-ish city, but it's city-ish city, you know? It's busy, there's big buildings, they're very old buildings. If you watch my old video, you know how much I like old buildings. Right, so on our first day there, we did the main bus tour thingy, bus on the this red bus thingy. We just got like a snapshot of the city. We had a look at all the major historical places. We had a look at the main cathedral and the square. That was really cool because right next to the cathedral is just a site that was discovered, an old site, an archaeological site. It's been restored a little bit. You know, there's just signs everywhere, not in Spanish and English, which was good for me because I can't speak Spanish, but I want to learn. Going off topic, one of my favorite things to do. You know, you're getting a feel for the history, you're getting a feel for, you know, how this was made. I mean, if you just go there and you're just looking at rocks, it's like, it doesn't make sense. You need substance behind the rocks. You need substance, you know? Substance! Yeah! I feel like that's never gonna be a thing. No. I like knowing the history behind places. I like knowing the history behind, you know, archaeological sites, just buildings. Why does it always come back to buildings? I don't know. But so much culture. We were just on the bus and we just turned around and this was going on. Dancing. You know how, you know, it just happens all the time, right? You just go on a bus, you're just touring casually in Mexico City and it was very danceful, very nice. Then on our second day there, we went to Teotihuacan, which are the sun and the moon pyramids, right? These massive pyramids. Okay, fun fact, Mexican pyramids don't have like a tip. It's kind of like a sort of thing going on. There's a technical name for it, but I'm not going to tell that to you because it's not a Matt's video. This is a Mexico video. So basically these pyramids are said to possess energy from the sun and the moon. So we climbed the whole of the sun pyramid, which is like 243 steps long. This type of incline, so it was, it's just like the entire time, which is, but then the view was, you know, we were taught to harness energy like Vin is doing here. That was pretty cool. Also, quick tip, if you go to the top of a pyramid, about 1 meter away from the edge, you want to do a jumping shot like this. I really recommend you doing that. It's great if you want to worry your mother. Also, just adrenaline rush. You're just jumping. It's like Mexicans looking at you being like, what are these idiots doing? You know, it's great. It's good. Everyone's doing it. And then on our way back to Mexico City, because this was about 20 to 25 minutes away from the city center itself where we were staying. On our way back, all our stomachs were like, but they weren't actually making that noise because that would be very, very worrying. We stopped over at a little cute Mexican place. Just look at the photo, okay? Look at the photo and tell me that it's not cute and little and awesome. And then this guy came out of nowhere with a guitar and serenaded us. Just just casually. When in Mexico. It was really nice. We had dinner at the restaurant under our hotel, and the guy had a really cool accent. Listen, 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 listen.
Enjoy your dinner.
Thank you.
Tortillas or tacos, okay? Enjoy.
Gracias.
And then on our last night there, we watched the Ballet Folklorico. The full name being Ballet Folklorico de Mexico de Amalia Hernandez. Now you know why they just call it Ballet Folklorico. Essentially what it is it's been presented for about 6 decades now, and what they do is they present traditional cultural dances of Mexico. So it's kind of like dancing and music. So many colorful costumes! We had a mariachi in there. At one point there was like 8 guys playing the trumpet. It was fantastic because I was like, I feel right at home here. I used to play the trumpet. And of course, me being me, I forgot the camera, so I had to take like little shots on the phone, and then it was of course at the end because just Murphy's Law just all of the time. So here's just the end bit. Sorry. Actually, it's a good thing because now I'm kind of convincing you to go to Mexico. I'm just gonna be like, look, you know, just saw the end and it was amazing. So to see the start and the middle bit, you just should go to Mexico. So yes, that was Mexico City. And then we had to end up in a little town called Aguascalientes. Actually, it's more of a city. It's kind of both. It's like a city town. It's like a town or a because that's where my auntie's family's from, and all her friends and everyone's just there, and we get some important things to do. So that's where we're gonna end up. And so essentially what we did was from Mexico City to Aguas. There's about 3 little towns in between, and so we started at Mexico City and we made our way through the little towns all the way to Aguas. So we started on a Sunday and we got to Aguas on a Thursday. We just stopped at these little towns and we stayed at a different place every night and just got a feel for the kind of stuff that was going on. So these little towns, in order from the place that we started at, from Mexico City to Aguascalientes, are Querétaro, San Miguel, and Guanajuato, which is notoriously difficult to say. So whilst in Mexico City, we also had a look at the Shrine of Guadalupe, the churches that were around it as well. That was basically as close as it got to the kind of stuff that was going on in these little towns. So essentially, just imagine, okay, you got cobblestone paths, you got stone houses, just kind of like stacked next to each other, and they're not like houses, they don't have these sort of roofs, they're just flat on the top. And you know, hundreds of churches, so many churches. The detailing in these churches is so ridiculously intricate. I mean, I have so many photos of the insides of churches. I can't even count. I cannot count. What comes after one? I do not know. And I think why this really struck me, I mean, all this cobblestone stuff and the stones and the churches, is that the history, I mean, their history is obviously so different to Australia. I mean, Australia is a very, very young country. Of course, it has history, but comparing timelines is just, it's stupid. You can't do that. When you go to these towns and you see like things from the 1500s that are still intact, that are still being used, it blows your mind. The kind of architecture was basically like Spanish influenced Baroque, and then you had a little bit of neoclassical stuff in there. We found some churches that were Art Deco as well. So it's a mix. It's just a crazy mix. The place that we went to in Mexico City to see the ballet, Palace of Fine Arts, which is right in the middle of the city. It's actually, I think, 19th or 20th century. So you got a mix of brand new sort of stuff as well as all this old stuff, and it's just amazing stuff. All of the stuff everywhere. But yes, here's some photos for you to just get the feel of the kind of thing that I'm talking about, you know, all of the just oldness. It's just very like Austrian. Oh, Austria! That reminds me. Here's a story for you. So we were walking through a plaza, and by plaza I mean there's basically 4 buildings, and then you got lots of big trees in the middle, big massive fountain, and then you got cute little restaurants that are set up so that the tables are outside with just little, you know, umbrella shade things in front of the fountain. And in front of these restaurants you've got little bands, 3-4 people just playing guitar, piano. I don't know how they were plugged in, probably battery operated. Why does that even matter? The atmosphere is, I can't describe to you how it is. You just kind of have to be there. You had to be there. Never again. So we're walking through this plaza, right? Walking, the tour guide's just telling us history about just everything, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, the band starts playing a few of my favorite things. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Sound of Music, switch off this video, go like rent it or download it or find that movie and just watch it, because if you haven't watched it, you have not lived life, okay? Julie Andrews wins everything. But for those of you who have, imagine the mansion, the palace, big house thing. You've got the fountain in the foreground and these beautiful trees with just grass, and oh, it's so beautiful. And I literally, for a moment, for a very small, tiny speck of moment, I felt like I was in a movie. And let's be honest, I wish my life was a musical basically all the time. right? They started playing this and I was like, I recognize that song, and I was just running it. It got really weird, let me tell you. It got very weird. Everyone was kind of looking at me. The tour guide just like, what is this girl doing? It was crazy. I was just screaming, just "Fuel, my favorite!" And the band had no idea what was going on. It's just like, alright, should we keep playing or do we stop? But it was still completely worth the experience. You know, just cute things like that. Oh, and one more cute story. So we were in Guanajuato and just trying to get a taste of the nightlife. Basically, we had dinner, just chilled in the room for a bit. It was about 8 o'clock. A bunch of us were like, yeah, you know what, let's just go out for a walk, see if there's any places we can grab a drink. And essentially we found out about this thing that they do in summer. So basically what happens is that they've got a college of the arts there. They've got this massive university, and the art students, the music students rather, actually not just music, drama, all of that kind of stuff. They get together during the night into groups and they kind of do their thing, right? So they'll either play music or they play instruments, or they'll do a comedy act, they'll do drama, they'll do a mix of everything, just put on a musical movie thingy, and it's just great. What they do is they start off in a certain place that's kind of like a big plaza sort of thing. So they kind of gather a crowd, and then once they've got enough people watching them, they start walking. What you do is around 1 o'clock in the morning, all you hear is just people chattering, laughing, music playing, and you just look ahead and then there's just this massive bunch of people following like 6 or 7 instrumentalists. And the coolest thing is we had one of the plazas basically was connecting about 4 or 5 different alleyways, and so at one point there was 3 just groups just converging on one site, and it was the most amazing sight, right? You're standing there, one side you see like people sitting on the staircase who are watching someone play the violin, then on the other side you've got 2 guys and they're doing their own thing. They're just doing a comedy act and it's just great. And then you look on the other side and there's this whole bunch. There's literally about 10 people in like a mariachi band. More people around them. So everything is just happening all at the same time. And the cute thing is they contend with each other. So it's not like, like, must beat you. But more like, haha, look at them. They're doing this and that kind of stuff. And it's so cute. It's really adorable. But I think the one thing that I picked up there above anything else is that language is not a barrier. For example, I had a lady sitting next to me while we were watching one of these acts. Everyone was just kind of just chilling in the background. It was just me and this lady, and I met this lady about literally 4 or 5 days ago. We didn't know each other well, and we're watching these 2 guys, right, put on a comedy act. Majority of it involves speaking. So they're speaking in Spanish, they're speaking really fast, and let's be honest, even if they were speaking slow, I would not understand them. They're just doing their own thing, and majority of the people could speak Spanish, and everyone else had like interpreters or they knew people, and I knew people too, but the people that I knew were busy watching something else, so I wasn't gonna be like, hey, translate everything for me all of the time ever. Just be my computer, because of course I had to put on an Indian accent at some point in this video. But essentially, we're just watching these guys. We have no idea what they're talking about. We have absolutely no idea. I have no sense of Spanish. I can understand to an extent now because I lived with them for about a week, and then 2 weeks before that I was just surrounded by Mexican people all of the time. But I don't understand what you're saying. And usually when you're in that situation, you get really awkward and you're like, this is weird. What do I do? Do I speak up? Do I tell people that I don't understand? Do I just walk away? What do I do? But we were sitting there, both of us. Neither of us could speak Spanish, and we would just laugh. We were laughing the entire time. We were laughing at the exact time that everyone else was laughing, and I think that's the only reason we were laughing, but we were laughing. And there was none of it was forced. I didn't feel the need to laugh. Like, I didn't want to laugh just because everyone else was laughing. I just felt like laughing because I was so happy about being there, about being surrounded by all these beautiful people. Of course, they're strangers. Majority of them were strangers. I'd never met them in my life. I'll probably never meet them again. But when you're in that moment and you're in that atmosphere and you're just surrounded by so much like music and like culture and love and all of the nice things, you can't help but want to join in. And honestly speaking, not just with them, but all of the people that I met in the States, all of the people that I met in Mexico, all of my auntie's family and friends, everyone, all of the people that I met there, I did not meet one person who I disrespected. I did not meet one person who made me angry or upset. And I think that's really rare. I mean, if you go to any country, if you go to anywhere, even if I'm here and I go to like a friend's house and they invite new people over, you're bound to find qualities in people that you dislike. And for sure, I mean, all of us have negative qualities. I'm not gonna deny that, and that's a very true concept. But the thing is, when you find people who do good in the world, when you find people who want to do good in the world for as long as they can, you want to hold on to them, right? And so on that note, I just like to say I love you guys, all of you that I met over there. I love you very, very much. You've taught me so much about myself. You've taught me so much about life in general. I know that's a really cliche thing to say, but I don't really know how else to put it, because when you go through something like that and you meet all of these new people and you have experiences that you wouldn't otherwise have, you can't help but be grateful all of the time. And on a last note, I just like to say, if you, yes you, I'm talking to you now, not those guys, just you. If you're ever given the opportunity to travel, if you're ever given the opportunity to go somewhere that you would never in your like 1,000,000 gazillion years universe never dreamed of, alright? You're given that opportunity, don't give it up. Don't do it. Even if you're scared, even if you're nervous, even if you have no idea what you're doing, find people that know what they're doing and ask them to help you. Find people who will help you get through it, right? I mean, to be honest with you, everyone is born with like a certain strength in them anyway. I know that sounds, again, this video is just filled with cliches today. Everyone has a certain strength in them, and I think you just kind of need to coax that out. And if you don't go out of your comfort zone, and if you don't go to places that you've never been before, meet people that you've never met before in a language that you don't speak, nothing will happen. You will always be in that little ball, just that little circle, and you don't want that. You want to explore, you want to meet new people, you want to go to new places, you want to just everything. Just do it all. Don't be afraid. Good afraid is good, but don't be bad afraid, because bad afraid is bad. And on that note, Hank, I'll see you on Friday.